National Signing Day is here. Shelby Granath alongside Gator Great and now SEC Network analyst Chris Doering. And Chris, over 20 have signed so far here for Coach Mullens. What are you seeing out of this class that he has?
You know, I think the thing that's most impressive for me has been the progression in terms of getting better and better, those relationships developing more and more. People questioned his ability to recruit in his first season here, and last year he put a top 10 class together. This year I think the interesting part is the refocusing of the strategy. Instead of being more national, I think they've focused on trying to get a little bit more regional, focusing on Florida, focusing on the Southeast, trying to recruit within a 5-hour driving distance. And I think that's going to pay dividends both in terms of the acclimation of those players and their loyalty and familiarity with the program.
You've talked to Coach Mullens today. How's he feeling about this class?
You know, it's amazing because he is so focused on bowl preparation right now. I think that it barely could give time to even talk about the success they've had, but I think that speaks to him and his focus level and just how important he views this bowl game. Florida was able to win 10 games last year. They've done that in the regular season here. But I think a lot of the momentum that was created this season started last year in the Peach Bowl. So I think they want to kind of get 2020 cranked off right, finish up 2019 with the bowl win against Virginia. But at the end of the day, you know, the hay was pretty much in the barn. I told you off air, I had a chance to get here about 10:30, and they had already had 19 or 20 letters of intent come in. So I think that's the way they would prefer it as coaches, to not have a whole lot of surprises. And if somebody else falls in their lap here throughout the rest of the day, then I think that would be a plus.
What does that say about this coaching staff and the relationships they've been able to get with these recruits, that there weren't really any surprises and they knew what guys they were getting today?
Yeah, how about a guy like Javon Dexter, who, you know, 6'6", 296-pound genetic freak as they call him, committed back in 2018, never wavered on that commitment, never even took another official visit anywhere else. I mean, I think that speaks to the relationship that the coaching staff was able to create with him. And I think that's similar not only with the players and the recruits that they're talking to, parents. I think it's also the same with the coaches. I mean, I think the Florida staff has done a nice job of creating some traction within the state of Florida, having relationships with the coaches that's paying dividends in terms of loyalty and sending guys speaking highly of the staff and the University of Florida.
With the D-line losing 4 key contributors, that was obviously an area that Coach Mullens was focused on, and it seems like he's got a few guys in mind.
Yeah, I think the thing that you always have to be cognizant of is in the SEC is improving, upgrading the lines of scrimmage. And I think Florida did that with this class. To this point in time, 4 defensive linemen have signed, 3 offensive linemen. You got a guy like Joshua Braun who's already on campus practicing right now, which I think is amazing to think about him just the other day being committed to Georgia, decommits, finishes up his finals on Wednesday and is practicing here last Saturday. So it's quite a contrast in terms of walking the high school halls to doing what he's doing now with this football program here. But I do think the improvement on the offensive line and the defensive line, that's the big gap that I see between Georgia and the rest of the teams in the East. And I think they addressed that gap well today.
The secondary was also an area of interest when you're losing guys like C.J. Henderson and Javon Taylor, but again, Mullens added those guys.
Yeah, I think if you look at it today, heading into the afternoon, it was offensive and defensive line, secondary, and receivers. How about the package they got with the Pouncey brothers? They address each of those in terms of Ethan in the secondary and Jordan at the receiver position. But I think as you watch the rest of the early signing period and then on into February signing period, I still think they need to address the wide receiver position a little bit more.
And then you have a guy like Anthony Richardson, a local quarterback. First time Florida has signed a local quarterback since 1996. How big is that?
It's huge for a lot of different reasons. I think it's huge as a Gainesvillian myself, growing up here, living here now. I think we take great pride in the fact that one of our high school products is now playing quarterback at the University of Florida. All reports so far is that he's been looking really good and the acclimation has gone smoothly, and obviously they're not going to count on him here for a while, but I'm excited about what he can do, and I'm excited about what that means for kids in Gainesville and Alachua County, to give that example of, hey, you can go out there and accomplish some of these same things and end up playing football for the Gators too.
On the national stage, what has this early signing period done for recruiting?
You know, I think it's interesting. I think most coaches would say that they like it. At the same time, I'm watching Coach Mullens, again, he talked about it the other day, juggling chainsaws between the hustle and bustle of Christmas and trying to prepare for Virginia in the Orange Bowl, and then also having to deal with recruiting. I think it creates some challenges. I also think it pushes the schedule up a little bit more. I'd be interested to see what the impression of the student athletes is and how they feel like it's either benefited them or hasn't been much of a change. But at the end of the day, it's the reality. Everybody, I think the number was last year, 78% of the FBS schools signed their signees in that early signing period, and so the trend is only going to continue.
Chris, you're around this program a lot. Second year in a row, Florida's going to a New Year's Six bowl game. How does the future look here in Gainesville?
Oh man, I'm excited about the future. If I'm taking off my unbiased glasses here, love what Coach Mullens has done. I love the way he's embraced the history and the success of the past, talking about the Gator standard and what it means to be a player here at the University of Florida, and how quickly a lot of the players bought in. I mean, a lot of the players on that initial team were not even recruited by Dan Mullens, but yet they understand, he's able to connect with them, and I think that that relationship is something like what we talked about before. He creates it with the players that are here, but he's also able to connect with the folks that he's recruiting, and they can now see the vision that he's selling them in the past paying dividends and coming to fruition on the field with 10 wins last year and a chance to win 11 this year.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Always great to be with you. Thanks for having me.